There is a very different mood in Bangkok this morning. Areas which have seen violent confrontation over the last couple of days are now relatively calm. People are walking around. The riot police have stood down. Quite remarkable the transformation just a few hours have brought. Remember, last night the protest leader, Suthep Thaugsuban, announced that the police headquarters was going to be their next target here in Bangkok. This morning the police announced that they weren't going to fight over it. If the demonstrators wanted to come in, they could do so. They moved the concrete barriers to one side. They got rid of the razor wire and allowed the protesters in. As things have rather bizarrely transpired, the protesters have refused to go inside the building. They're just on the fence outside. Now, at a separate location, you'll remember that Government House, the office of the Prime Minister, has been perhaps the most contested and most violent of all the locations in Bangkok. At the moment, it appears that those scenes are being repeated. What we saw at the police headquarters also taking place there. People are reporting a much calmer scene. The riot police seem to be at ease, and the demonstrators themselves are not firing fireworks, rockets, missiles, as they did through last night into this morning. It's a quite remarkable turnaround. We'll just have to see whether this is a phase or whether it really does mark the beginning of the end of this crisis.
Because it was never clear where these protests were going to end up, was it, Jonah? I mean, this is a government that won the past 5 elections. Even if they'd called an election, they'd probably have won again. Of course, the protesters feel that the government is in fact controlled by the exiled Mr. Chenawat, but it was never sure what was going to happen next. So where do you think this is going now?
It's a good question, Mike. Where is this going now? We haven't heard from the protest leader this morning, and it's unclear how he will interpret this turn of events. But over the last few days, what we've seen is demonstrators looking for confrontation, looking for the riot police to oppose them so they could have some sort of flashpoint. If the riot police aren't willing to provide that, who are the demonstrators going to push against? If they really do want to continue with this, they're going to have to look for new, harder targets which the riot police simply can't let them walk into. But certainly today, it does appear that things have changed. There's been no political solution, of course. There's been no deal struck, it appears, between the Prime Minister here, Yingluck Shinawatra, and the leaders of the anti-government demonstrations. But on the ground, a very different atmosphere.